working remote has given us the opportunity to hire the best talent wherever they are.
Let's deep dive here, because it's so important that everybody on the team knows exactly on Monday who's doing what today and what's the focus of the week. Now, in the remote world, not everybody knows how to do it. So you are remote. We were remote from the very first second when we started, and we are on 4 continents. So let's share a little bit with the audience. What are the first couple of things that we did install that we couldn't live without? In our case, we have one project management space. Everybody sees what the goals are and what the tasks are. When they're done, they're clicked, and then I automatically get in our communication space, which is also Slack in our case. And there is a channel there, it's called Asana. And via another app called Zapier, we automated that when one task in our project management system in Asana is completed, I get a small one sentence in Asana. Diana completed uploading the video on YouTube. So everybody knows, and this is accessible to everybody, and it's in real time. Yeah. Same thing for the main operations. The main operations means a new client bought an online course or they bought an online consulting. We get exactly from the operations to Asana, exactly in real time, one sentence, this person just bought this one. So everybody knows, that's the trigger for the next tasks. Because when you are not in the same room, you need something that creates real-time information in one place that is accessible to everybody.
Yeah, and I love you use the exact same tools we do. Zapier, Asana, Slack. We do not, and this is just a rule that we have for our business, but we do not give tasks or I like to say outsource outcomes and not tasks, but we don't set outcomes in email. I'm not sending a bunch of emails, do this, do that, do that. So everything lives in Asana. That is the sort of single source of truth for what everyone's working on. And then another thing that I would add to that is to make sure that you are, as a team, you have feedback loops. So you are using Zapier and Asana and Slack to close the loop, right? You don't have to worry if Diana did the thing, because it's going to tell you when she gets that complete. So having those short feedback loops are really important when you're virtual, so that no one is sort of stuck wondering, did the baton get passed? Is it my turn to pick up the helm here or what? So that's really important. And then I would also add to that, one thing that we implemented, and we've sort of filtered in and out of this. When we're working on a really big project, we do it, and we're doing it right now in our company, but we have a 10-minute stand-up meeting every day. So everyone's camera's on Zoom, and I just simply ask 3 questions. What did you work on yesterday? What are you working on today? And what are your impediments to progress, right? So everyone knows what everyone on the team is doing. And if there are any impediments to progress, we get that nipped in the bud right then and there, right? So no one's like, oh, I'm sorry, I was waiting on you to give me that copy for that Facebook ad. Like, nope, here's the copy, or I'll get it to you in 10 minutes, right? Those are the kind of feedback loops that are really important, again, in this virtual remote space.
This is beautiful. The daily huddle or the daily stand-up is a very important practice. And I would like to also to add that if you are all in the same time zone, you can do it really the same time. Like it's a call at the same time of the day, it's 10 minutes, wonderful. And everybody synchronous. It can also happen that that you are on 4 continents, we have very different time arrangements. So there are also apps for that, to do the daily huddle just in an asynchronous way. Means whenever you wake up, you do it. So at your 8 o'clock, you do it. At my 8 o'clock, I do it. Or whenever it suits me during the day, I will do that. And it is shared with everybody. The important thing is that everybody knows what's going on. And if you have an impediment, that you can address it quickly. Yeah. And to share needs and to share the focus. That's important. And technology makes it possible, even if you are in very different time zones that usually would never get together. Well, it's possible to do it, everybody on their time and whenever they are.
You want to make your sales more repeatable and reliable? Do you want to have less volatility and more growth in your revenue per month? At Strategy Sprints, we do only one thing: strategy in sprints. Strategy means having more revenue through a better offer. In sprints means having more energy in your team every week. Check out if your ROI is as high as it is for most service-based and online businesses and startups we work with, which is over 100%. You can see it in just 15 minutes by going to strategysprints.com/sales and completing our online exercise to know what your ROI would be with our accelerator program. We are ready to sprint. Are you?
I love that technology has allowed us to take away the excuse of time zones, take away the excuse of language barriers. I mean, there's so many things that technology has allowed us. Working remote has given us the opportunity to hire the best talent wherever they are, right? We used to be so constrained to like my 10-mile radius around my home or my office. And now we're able to do so many things to build amazing teams that we can trust because technology allows us to do this. But if we're not making the central focus of our relationships to be communication, right, with our remote teams, then I think it can fall apart. I have had clients where remote doesn't work for them because they refuse to work on these 4 E's, right? They refuse to encourage and equip and empower and engage with their team. And remote is always a challenge for those people. They need that person right outside their desk, right? And so if you're willing to embrace this and work hard and stumble through it a little bit, because it takes practice, just like, working out, like you got to tear some muscle. It's going to be a little bit painful. But if you will keep at it, then you can build an incredible company remotely.
It is practice. I agree. And I can share one thing that I did terribly wrong, but how I learned to do it better. And it has to do with Slack. So we had 4 new interns, and they were virtual interns from Hong Kong because they were under lockdown. And so students that were studying economics had no corporation to go to make their intern, and they organized and they wrote to corporations around the world, hey, can I make a virtual internship at your place? And I said, of course, come in, let's do this. And so they started, but I didn't know them really well. And as the CEO, I did have some contact with them, but not so much and not every day. So sometimes I would ask them to do something, add Sonia, add Anson there and there, and then I would get no response. And I would wonder what happened. And then somebody of my team said, Simon, you know that you can click in Slack and see immediately right now their local time. Yeah. And so I tried that before sending something, and that changed everything because I saw, oh, it's 4 o'clock in the morning there.
Yeah.
So maybe, of course, you can send it anyway in Slack because they handle it when they want to handle it.
Right.
But it is so much more attentive and aware just to check it up front, just to know which context the people are, and it's so easily possible with this.
Well, one of the challenges of remote work is that for some of us, work is an escape from reality, right? And we like to work. And so having your team, and as the CEO or the founder or the manager of a company who's now working remote, have this conversation with your team. We have our team, everyone has a startup routine and a shutdown routine. And as best as we can, we have them do that at the same time every day, right? So encourage your team to create a flow that works for them. So much right now, we get stuck working, 10 hours a day because we're just at your desk. And you feel like maybe you can't take a break. Whereas like if you were in a corporate office, it's lunchtime and you go take a lunch break. And so allow your team to have boundaries and to create a workflow that works for them. Many people are working at home with their kids now for the first time ever. And so you've got to have a little bit of grace for those people who are now trying to manage not only continuing to get work done, the fears of a global pandemic, having their kids at home, in some cases homeschooling their kids, right? So you've got to be able to allow a little bit of grace and flexibility with what remote work needs to look like for them so that people aren't working or feeling like they're working 24 hours a day.
grace and kindness are so important, especially in these times. In these times, now we are aware for that, and I hope that we can keep this awareness when the new normal kicks in, because we really never know what the context is right now of that person on the other side. And especially when it's remote, you get very direct, very tactical, very analytical. It's about numbers. Mm-hmm. And it's about facts, and then it's easier to become snappy, to become cold, and to lose that kindness in everyday communication.
Yeah, and if we go back to week 1 that I was here, relationships in the end need to trump, right? Technology, they need to trump like what we are doing. And if we will just focus on understanding, getting to know our team, engaging with them, and understanding that their kid has ADHD and they've never had to homeschool them before ever. And now they're trying to be a good employee for you, but also be a good parent to their child. It tends to make us a little softer, right? And that data or the KPIs need to matter a little bit less in a time like this. And hopefully, like you said, that will sort of shift into us having just a better understanding of humanity as we go forward.
Beautiful. So I think that the positive thing of this current crisis is that it is an experience for us in humbleness and a chance to become more aware and more kind in every working relationship, especially under pressure, because entrepreneurship is pressure and is a journey with all ups and downs. So yeah, it's beautiful that we have this chance. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you for sharing with such generosity and open-heartedness all your tools and all your tricks and tactics and all your alliterations.
Glad to be here. Thanks.
Yeah, and bye-bye.
Bye.
We all know that working in sprints is better, but how do we know what we should work on? You're in luck because we have a 15-minute exercise that will give you complete clarity on where to take your project next. Go to strategysprints.com/sales to complete our short exercise and meet one-on-one with an expert sprint coach to identify your number 1 bottleneck. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed that episode of The Strategy Show. Make sure to like this video below and subscribe so that you can stay up to date with every episode of The Strategy Show. Get daily CEO tips from CEOs for CEOs.